Hi and welcome to Ali Lives Well on Less. I'm Ali, an early retired teacher currently living well on my small teacher's pension. And today is Foodie Friday and you are very welcome. On Fridays we talk about some aspect of food, whether we are eating it, cooking it, shopping for it, prepping it, but generally whatever we do with it, we are trying to save money and get the best value we can to stretch our hard-earned pennies. So today is the final Foodie Friday of November, and throughout November I have been talking about ways to just be savvy about our spending for our Christmas Day dinner. And I think over the last few weeks I've cooked a turkey and sliced it and frozen it. I've cooked a veggie option as well. I think I'm prepared for Christmas Day dinner now, with the exception of the veg, and I will be taking advantage of the supermarket veg wars near the time where you can get really cheap veg. But apart from that, I'm sorted. And today we're talking about the last part of your Christmas dinner, which is the dessert, the pudding. And once upon a time, I used to make lots and lots of desserts. If I had a big crowd, I would have quite a few different options to suit all the different likes and dislikes and food sensitivities for all the people that were there. But basically, my family loves trifle. Now, it's not my favourite dessert. It's not one I would go out of my way to have. I wouldn't make it for myself, but I know how much my family love it, so I make trifle. Now, trifle is a peculiarly British dessert, and there are lots and lots of recipes and articles and information out there on what makes a traditional trifle. And in years gone by, I have gone down the route of making absolutely every component in the trifle from scratch, including the sponge. And sometimes I've just bought ready-made custard and so on. It's entirely up to you. You do not need to follow anything that says it's traditional. But basically, a trifle is a layered dessert. On the bottom layer, there is some sponge and it can be soaked in alcohol, traditionally sherry, which is why you get sherry trifle. But obviously, if you've got children eating it, you wouldn't do that. But essentially, it's sponge cake or sponge fingers soaked in something. Over the years here in the UK, we've tended to use jelly or jello if you're in a different part of the world. So there's a sponge, there could be fruit, either fruit itself or a fruity jam, and that's your bottom layer. And then you have a layer of custard. Now, it should be kind of more set than runny, which is where buying ready-made custard can be a bit of an issue, but I am making custard today to show you how I do it, and I'm just using the Bird's instant powder. In the past, I have made custard from scratch. Sometimes it's called crème anglaise, depending on where you are in the world, but it's basically a milky, eggy, sweet sauce. And then on top, you put cream. Now, I'm of the generation that watched Friends, and if you're the same as me, you'll remember the famous Thanksgiving episode where Rachel makes a traditional trifle, but she accidentally had 2 pages of the recipe book stuck together, and she ended up putting in a layer of beef sautéed with onions and peas and so on. But yeah, if you look up traditional trifle recipes, you will see a wide range. So the one I'm making is a raspberry and pear white chocolate trifle. Now, that just happens to be a combination that I like. You can use any sort of fruit, any flavour of jelly. Doesn't really matter. You just put in what you like and what you have. I'm using pears because I've got a freezer full of poached pears. You could easily use tinned pears. So without further ado, Here is the jelly sponge mix that I did overnight. I've used a vegetarian jelly. It's called Wibble. You can get it in Tesco, currently 85 pence. And all I've done is layer the pears on the bottom and some of these sponge fingers on top. So now I'm going to go and cook the white chocolate custard, and once it's cool, it will go on top. So let's go make the custard. Okay, before we start making the custard, that's the Wibble jelly and I'm using. I bought 2 packets, one for today's trifle and obviously one for the actual Christmas Day one. It comes with strawberry and orange and possibly a black curranty one or a fruits of the forest one. Yeah, so there is a variety. These are the sponge fingers that I used. You can buy actual trifle sponges, but the sponge fingers are cheaper. And literally, I am following the instructions on the back of the custard powder, except I am using less milk so that I can get a thicker custard. And instead of a pint or 568 mils, I'm using 400 mils of milk, and I'll show you what I do with the white chocolate. So all I'm going to do, heat the milk, add it to the custard powder, and I've used less sugar as well. I've only used 1 spoon of sugar instead of 2 because I'm adding the white chocolate. All I'm going to do is heat the milk, add it to the paste, put it back in the pan, bring it up to thicken, add the white chocolate and cool. It's not rocket science. So, and I'm using 100 grams of this chocolate. Okay, so the milk is warming up nicely. It's quite bubbly. I don't want it to get to the boiling stage, but I think it's probably hot enough when you see the bubbles around the edge. All I'm going to do is add it to, now in here, remember I've got the custard paste. Oh yeah, there we go, took my eye off it. Whoa, okay, yeah, I'll just let that come back down. See, this is what happens, Ali, when you're too busy talking. Right, okay, that'll be fine. Thank goodness I did not make a mess all over my cooker. So you can see instantly that this is quite thick. Right, I know what's wrong, this is too high. Turn it down, turn it down. Okay, I'll put it back in. So you can see already it's quite thick. It's quite different from a pouring custard on purpose. So all I need to do now is just bring that back up to cook out the, essentially the custard powder is just coloured corn flour. So all I want to do is make sure that it is cooked, and then I will turn it off the heat and add the chocolate. Right, I saw a dark fleck there. Have I got a burnt bit already? I hope not. No, maybe it's just my imagination. No, I did have a burnt bit. Right, that's okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah, burnt milk is, oh heck, here we go. Yeah, there's another bit, right, I've got it. What I'll do is I'll decant it out this pan and put it into the clean jug. I suspect that this is going to need a bit of editing to make it look professional. or not, or this is real cooking. This is what it's like. So okay, so I'm thinking just a couple of minutes is really all it takes. Now you can see it's quite thick and gloopy. That's what we want, because as it cools it will set. Because there's nothing worse than putting a big spoon into a trifle and it's sloppy. You want it to at least hold its shape a little bit. Right, okay. So there will be enough heat in here. I'm going to add 100 grams of white chocolate. And all I'm going to do is stir it until it melts. So I'm just going to give this jug a bit of a rinse out, and then we will pour the custard in here to cool down. Now the thing about custard cooling down is you might get lumps, you might get a skin on it. That's absolutely fine, because I will just take my trusty stick blender and blend it once it is cool. Okay, so looks like the chocolate has melted in, and I'm just going to pour it into my clean jug. I'm just going to check where any burnt bits actually were fine. I don't know why I had those two little burnt bits, but there we go. Okay, that's the thing about cooking milk, is it does catch. Okay. And that's it. So all I'm going to do now is leave the custard to cool, and then I'll give it a little bit of a whiz, and when it's cold enough we will pour it on top of the jelly. Okay, custard is nice and cool. Oh, there we go. I gave it a quick whiz with my stick blender. All I'm going to do is put it on. Now, you should really serve trifle in a nice clear cut glass bowl so that you can see all the layers. But unfortunately, I do not have a trifle bowl. And I don't make it that often that it's worth getting one. I used to have one years ago, but I'm assuming it got broken or damaged in one of my many house moves. Okay. Spread out a little. Now you could, if you wanted, I'm not, because I'm going to save the white chocolate. Who am I kidding? I'm going to probably eat it. You could grate some white chocolate over the top just to boost the chocolatey flavour. And all I'm going to do is add some whipped cream to the top. I'm going to carry on whipping this cream to make butter. So I'm just going to spread it out a little bit. You can add as much or as little as you like. Some years I have just served it with squirty cream, or squishy cream as we call it here. Okay, my finger is clean, because someone will always comment. Okay. Just cover the custard. And that's it. Now you could sprinkle some more grated white chocolate on the top if you wanted. But I am harking back to my 70s childhood, and I am going to add hundreds and thousands. So if you were a child in the 70s, here in the UK, traditional trifle at Christmas was a bird's trifle kit. And my sister and I used to fight over putting the sprinkles on top. There we go. And that is my white chocolate, raspberry and pear trifle. Okay, if you're seeing this, then it worked. Okay, so this is a trifle spoon. It's a big flat spoon. Now, hopefully I will be able to get this out and you will be able to see the layers. Okay, can you see the layers? It's sliding a bit, but yeah. Oh, and there's just a little bit of the pear and the jelly in the bottom. Okay, so you can probably see in there jelly sponge pears, white chocolate custard, whipped cream on the top. And I am going to have that for my dessert now. That's good. So I've just popped the trifle into the fridge to set for a couple of hours, and I will insert a picture or a little bit of footage of me cutting the trifle, and hopefully you will see all the layers of the trifle. Don't worry, I'm not going to eat all that by myself. I'm going to drop some off to my son because he loves trifle. So trifle isn't something you can prepare sort of now in advance. It's one of those things you need to start on Christmas Eve and then finish it off on Christmas Day morning. But the other dessert pudding that I will be offering my guests will be an individual Christmas pudding. Once upon a time I did make Christmas puddings on Stir Up Sunday. But as I say, there's not many mouths to feed for me now on Christmas Day, so I just buy a couple of these individual ones. This Tesco Finest one is currently £1.25 with your club card. It does serve one. I did buy one of these a couple of weeks ago to test it, and it is delicious. So that's a good option if you are on your own and you just want a wee treat. There aren't many decent budget options for puddings or desserts if you're on your own, because a lot of them are designed for sharing. And hey, if you can eat a whole trifle by yourself over a couple of days, you know, have at it. It is Christmas. But probably a better idea would be to buy something that serves one. And I'm sure there'll be other sort of desserts and puddings available nearer the time. So that one actually has nuts in it, so I need to see if I can source a nut-free one for my daughter-in-law to see if she would prefer a nut-free version. And talking about sort of dietary issues, I have made the exact same trifle with non-dairy milk, making the custard. Custard powder itself is dairy free, so if you are lactose intolerant and can't have dairy, yep, you can absolutely make custard from scratch using a plant-based milk. Or you could buy, certainly in the UK, you can get the Alpro custard, which is really, really nice, but it does make the trifle sloppy because it doesn't set, and what you want is a slightly set, wobbly custard rather than a runny custard. And you can get sort of, there's Oatly cream alternatives that you can spoon on, or you can even get vegan squirty cream, squishy cream. I've done that before because, as I've said, I was dairy free and gluten free for many, many years. So I have tested and tried everything that I do make. in gluten-free and dairy-free versions. So I'll need to go back and check and see how long this video is, but I do hope it has been of use to you. Certainly, Trifle isn't a budget-friendly option, but I do think that if you have been quite budget savvy with the rest of your Christmas Day meal, then you can afford to push the boat out a little bit for puddings, if you are a pudding person, of course. So I'm going to throw it open to you. What do you have for your dessert on Christmas Day? Obviously here in the UK, the traditional one would be trifle or Christmas pudding. But in the past, I have made cheesecake, and pavlova is another one that we've served at Christmas. But what do you make, or what would you recommend for either a decadent indulgent pudding, or do you have a budget-friendly dessert that pleases a crowd? Or if you've got a suggestion for a serving for one, because I know lots of you will be on your own on Christmas Day, but you want to have something nice just to mark the occasion if you desire. So you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thank you so much. You may or may not be able to see through my front window. It is what we call here in Scotland a filthy day. It is just that constant drizzly, mizzly rain. It's actually not cold. When I got up this morning to let Luna out, it was actually 12 degrees. Now, yesterday morning when I got up, it was -1. So the weather is really weird, hence all the bugs flourishing just now, because it's hot, it's cold, it's damp, it's wet. So if you've been feeling poorly, just take care of yourself and stay in and do nothing, because that's what I did for the last few days. Feeling a bit better today, but yeah, not nice weather outside. So I hope that was of use to you today. Leave your dessert suggestions in the comments below, and I will see you again on Monday, where we will go over November spending and looking at a few things for the end of the year and going into 2026. It's not that long away. In fact, Monday will be the 1st of December. So yeah, 2025 is almost done. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay warm, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you again on Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye.